Welcome to the broadcast tonight, novelist and essayist and man of letters, Gore Vidal.
Always remember that it is of no consequence to you what other people think of you. What matters is what you think of them. That is how you live your life.
Also, columnist, author, television personality, entertainer, Arianna Huffington.
I believe that the greatest crisis we're facing today is the crisis of America becoming two nations. And our entire political conversation, both from the Republicans and the Democrats, is about the one nation, the nation that's benefiting from the good economy, that's benefiting from the stock market, and the nation of the inner cities, the collapsing public schools, the gangs, the super predators, is ignored.
And one of the stars of the Broadway musical Ragtime, Brian Stokes Mitchell.
Ragtime is the story of America. It is the story of what is the melting pot, what has made this country. It is the story of what is the American pie, what is that slice, what is that to different people, how do you get that, how has that changed, how does that change with individuals. I think it's a story of transformation.
Fiction, satire, and theater when we continue.
Charlie Rose is made possible by USA Networks as part of our continuing commitment to innovative television. Through USA Network and the Sci-Fi Channel, we provide original entertainment to America and the world.
Anywhere, anytime, any book. BarnesandNoble.com, where the world shops for books.
Cisco Systems, the company that brought the internet to business, is pleased to help bring The Charlie Rose Show to PBS. Cisco Systems, empowering the internet generation.
Charlie Rose is also made possible by these funders.
And by Bloomberg, a provider of multimedia news and information services worldwide. Closed captioning funded by the U.S. Department of Education. From our studios in New York City, this is Charlie Rose.
Gore Vidal is one of this country's preeminent writers. He has written 24 novels as well as several screenplays and a book of essays that won him the National Book Award in 1993. All the while, he's remained a constant voice in the nation's political dialogue. His latest novel is his first in 6 years. It is somewhat of an experiment merging science fiction with historical fact. It is called the Smithsonian Institution, and I am pleased to have this institution join us again. Welcome back, sir.
Very happy to be back.
I want to talk about where the country is before we come to this, but this has all the looks of a Harlequin novel.
Isn't it wonderful? And there's the Smithsonian,
Yes.
And you and I are both basically Washington creatures.
That's right.
And I don't know what they're going to say. There's a 13-year-old protagonist.
Yes.
And all the exhibits come alive at night in 1939, and he is making love to Mrs. Grover Cleveland.
Yes.
And she is 21. So I don't know, and as you know, she can go to prison in Orange County, California, for what is happening on the lawn of the Smithsonian.
All right, more about this in a minute. Tell me what you think of what's happening in Washington today.
I'm with the American people on this one, 80% like Clinton, and a lot of it is reaction to this stuff. The sex lives of anybody in politics or anywhere else is of no importance to their execution of their work. So I'm pretty much on his side. There are many. The reason why we get so much sex, first it's an easy smear, but we get so much of it because we are not allowed to discuss politics in the United States. If you want to rise in politics, in office, you talk about other things. And I think when he started in, he seemed to recognize that the only thing worth talking about for adults in a society like ours, allegedly, is who collects what money to spend on whom for what. That, in one sentence, is what politics is. Taxation and expenditures. We can't talk about it, because then you have to get into the overruns at General Electric. You have to get into the defense budget, which procurement is just as high as ever. If you can't talk about all these things, what have you got left but the sex lives of the candidates? That's part of our problem. Now, is he himself guilty of an active sexual life? I suppose he probably is. Am I interested? No. And are most of the American people, as long as he's minding the store? I don't think they are either. One thing funny on television now, you get, there'll be 3 or 4 faces, you know, and little boxes coming on. 3 will be
lawyers.
Again, well, 4 will be lawyers, but they'll be against Clinton, 3 of them. Yeah. 1 will be for Clinton, and the one for Clinton has a very pointed head and, you know, strange-looking mad comic ears, and plainly a loon.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that odd? It's always loaded against Clinton. This is networks, this is television all over. And it makes me think there's a conspiracy.
You have looked at other presidents, Abraham Lincoln, for example, and others that you have watched and or written about. Where will this put the president? What impact will it have in terms of his place in history? All of this contemporary conversation about his sexual behavior.
Well, I think he's already been erased, because when they won the battle over health care, which is the only thing that he proposed, that would have been good for the people at large, and it was radical. It was as radical as I remember the debate in 1935 over Social Security, which Franklin Roosevelt put through, and the Republicans were saying, you'll lose your name. You'll only have to wear a number. You know, we've heard all this before. His one shot was that thing. When he failed at it, he has been running so scared, and then they come up with the private stuff about him. He is ineffective, but I would say that no president since Harry Truman has been anything other than what I call a twilight president. This is a twilight period.
For America?
For America. There's nothing innovative done. Yes, we have all the weapons, and we do an occasional light show for Ted Turner in the Gulf. But
for the benefit of CNN.
For the benefit of CNN. At least we're still commercial.
Bump up their ratings, is that the point?
Yeah, exactly. And to make Peter Arnett a star.
You do see conspiracy everywhere.
Oh, yes, I do. And what is interesting is that people who conspire, I mean, what is a political party but a conspiracy to get power, have made anyone who says, uh-oh, they're getting together, this group, ITT, which owns Hartford Life, et cetera, and you check it out. Oh, he believes it's conspiracy. He thinks that Oswald had accomplices. He probably has seen a flying saucer. You know, anyone who says it, but what else would you do to get people off the track? There are conspiracies everywhere. What is a lobbyist in Washington? You know them. I know them. There's 70,000 lawyers lobbying. And the Congress is nothing but other lawyers hired by corporations to pretend to represent states.
Changing to the world of letters, turning from politics to the world of letters, you believe, for example, that television has had the impact of hiding a lot of very good writers in America and in the world who are not having an opportunity to find a publisher and having an opportunity to be read because television is eliminating the incentive to read.
I think that's part of it. I think a lot of it, though, is the educational system, which isn't very good for the public at large. And that you know, there's a big change, and there's nothing to be done about it. We're changing over from the written word to audiovisual. What do kids play with now? They don't have books that they read. It's video games. I mean, they are plugged into that. And if you want somebody to fix your television, call in a 9-year-old. You know, I can't do it. You can't do it. But they know how to do these things.
Well, but that's good.
But no, it's new. It's different, and I don't.
But it's good because it offers them an access to a world of information, and access to a world that
nobody's knocking. We're talking about literature, though, and what has happened to the traditional culture, and that is getting thinner and thinner. And it is fading away. It'll always have a small audience. I worry a bit that, you know, the movies are the most popular thing now. Everywhere you go, I've never heard anybody mention a novel to me in 20 years. They'll always say, oh, have you seen Good Will Hunting or something like that? Well, the movies are a wonderful art form, but it's the only form, narrative form, in which there is no mind at work. It's emotional.
Right.
And it draws you in, it dazzles you with pictures.
You sit there and absorb rather than...
You're passive.
Right.
Reading a book, you look at the line, and the writer is coming out of the page at you with what he's written, and your eye is following it. And it's the two of